guys? Teacher Polov here, and today we're reacting to this coffee request from Lena. Sorry, I got something in my throat here. Let's use the coffee to clear that out. Okay. Tack för kaffen. Thank you guys for the request and the support. This is from a channel called Geopolipedia. So it's geopolitics Wikipedia, I would say. Geopolipedia. And the title is, Why Don't Sweden and Finland Touch the Arctic Ocean? Let's check this out, guys. Do not forget to like and to subscribe. Now let's check this out.
This is the Scandinavian Peninsula, located right next to the Arctic Ocean. The peninsula is made up of the countries of Sweden, Finland, and Norway, covering a total land area of around 750,000 square kilometers. These countries have a combined population of about 21 million people, which is comparable to the population of the U.S. state Florida. Known for their beautiful scenery in the form of mountains, lakes, and forests, and their icy cold temperatures, these countries rank amongst the top of the United Nations Human Development Index. Glancing at the map, it looks like all three countries would have a coastline touching the Arctic Ocean to the north. But if one takes a closer look at the map, one would notice that Sweden and Finland do not actually have any land that meets the Arctic Ocean. This is because the country of Norway cleverly loops around them and stops any connection they would have to the coast.
Clever
now, what
Norway.
could be the reason for these odd borders, and why have they developed the way they have? Well, let's get into it. Sweden, Norway, and Finland are the three countries on the Scandinavian peninsula in northern Europe. While the countries do have their own unique features, they all share strong ties in terms of history, culture, and language. Sweden is a country rich in scenic beauty. It has thousands of coastal islands and inland lakes, as well as huge boreal forests and glacial mountains. Its principal cities, eastern capital Stockholm and southwestern Gothenburg and Malmö, are all located along the coast of the Bay of Bohemia. It has a population of just over 10 million people, most of which speak Swedish, its official language. Finland borders Sweden, Norway, and Russia. Helsinki, its capital, occupies...
I wonder why so many people speak Swedish in Sweden. Like, that is a fun fact that he kind of mentioned, but like, literally, you'd think it's kind of like an obvious fact, right? But I guess that's, that's why most people speak Swedish in Sweden, I would say.
It's a peninsula, as well as the surrounding islands in the Baltic Sea. The northern lights can be seen from the country's Arctic Lapland province, which is a vast wilderness with national parks and ski resorts, popular tourist attractions drawing in people from around the world. It has a population of about 5.5 million people. Its official languages are Finnish and Swedish, showing its linguistic similarities to its neighbor. As you can see,
especially in Varo, where Kai is from, right?
The major cities in these countries, including the capitals of both, are coastal cities, indicating that these countries do make use of the oceans and the resources it provides. So why do these countries not have any ports on the Arctic Ocean? Well, the answer is Norway. Norway is a Scandinavian country that has beautiful mountains, glaciers, and deep coastal fjords, and is also known for fishing, hiking, and skiing. But how did Norway manage to get the
mackerel, the salmon, guys, top quality? And you guys may know I was in Bergen and in Oslo. Beautiful fjords, definitely so beautiful. Like, if you haven't been there, please go there. Nice fresh air.
Entire coastline of northern Europe that meets the Arctic Ocean? Well, the answer to that is rooted in history. Looking way past the modern era, in the early 1200s, before countries had taken form in the manner we know of them today, there were multiple kingdoms ruling over these areas. The Kingdom of Sweden at the time extended to the mouth of the Bay of Bohemia, but did not extend further north. The Kingdom of Norway, on the other hand, was home to the Norsemen, a seafaring people who sailed the oceans looking for new lands to conquer and raid. Their country...
These are scenes from the series Viking, right? I've never watched the series, but I recognize the main actor here. He's from... I recognize him from the poster. The only Norseman I know is the funny version. Is this good? Does anybody know? And from what I can tell, the Norsemen were great sailors, so they took possession of the ports, I would say, the coastline.
Who sailed the oceans looking for new lands to conquer and raid. Their
Yeah, Hansi, I noticed, like, when he said Bohemia, I was going to say Bohemian Rhapsody. But yeah, it's Bothnia, isn't it?
country was described as very long and very narrow. The kingdom, even then in the ancient times, stretched across the entire northern coastline of northern Europe. Thus, historically, Norwegian heritage and history is rooted in the country's seafaring past and its usage of its long coastline. Moving forward in time a few centuries, the landscape of the region has changed again. While the coast of what is now known as Finnmark country of northern Norway contained pockets
We have some
of
people from
Norwegian
Finnmark here.
settlements, the region was overall very sparsely populated, and the
Sami.
people who lived here were mostly Samis, who were not considered citizens of any country and paid taxes to Norway, Sweden, and Russia. For a
Crazy,
long
isn't
time,
it?
there simply wasn't
That's crazy. You're not a citizen of any country, but you need to pay tax in every country. Isn't that crazy?
any actual border to speak of. Norway stopped on the coast of what is now Tromsø, and
Tromsø.
Sweden, which at the time included Finland as well, ended by the coast of the Gulf of Bohemia. The whole region in between
That's 3
simply
times.
was not considered part of either nation until the modern era. Then came Christian IV, the ruler of Denmark-Norway, which was a combined kingdom in the late 1500s. It was he who felt the coast of Finnmark was an integral piece of land to take over, and he organized a large fleet to take over the area and led it himself. He sailed past the north, chased the corsairs and pirates away, and claimed these lands for Norway. Today's history
See, if you're great, if you're great at sea, you're definitely gonna take over the coast, I would say, and that's where you need to be. Basically, I guessed correctly. They wanted to take over the coastline so that they could have access.
Historians believe that if he had not taken this action, it is likely that Sweden would have been the nation that pushed northwards, which would have greatly changed the way the borders appear today. However, Christian's decisive actions meant that Norway claimed that land as their own, and a century later, in 1751, the borders between Norway and Sweden were agreed on for good. This pretty much explains why Sweden doesn't open up into the Arctic Ocean. But what about Finland? Well, during most of history, the area that is considered Finland today actually came under Sweden. The eastern portion of the medieval and early modern Swedish kingdom is what would be known as Finland today. However, at no point during their joint history did Sweden and Finland have any actual dominion over any coastal area of the Arctic Sea. The area closest to Swedish-Finnish territory was disputed by Norway and Russia, and no formal border between the two powers was agreed on until 1825. In fact, in 1808, Russia captured and took over the region of Finland from Sweden. The Emperor of Russia made Finland a Grand Duchy. It remained a part of Russia until the time of the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, at which
The what revolution? Did you hear what I heard? I guess it makes sense. But listen, it's it's always been like this, right? Russia gaining territory and spreading out, and it's interesting how I feel like history has not changed. We keep seeing these things happen, and we're in 2025, but we still see history repeat itself.
from Sweden. The Emperor of Russia made Finland a Grand Duchy. It remained a part of Russia until the time of the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917, at which point it declared its independence as a country of its own. When it became independent, Finland actually had a tiny portion of the Arctic coastline within the country in the form of the Petsamo province and the
Petsamo.
port of Linnakumari. During World War II, Finland actually fought against the Soviet Union to defend this region, as it was the only export route for Finland and Sweden not controlled by Nazi Germany or the
Dang.
Soviet Union. However,
That is a very dangerous border to have.
after the war, Finland gave up the area of the former Petsamo province to the Soviet Union, and thereby lost its connection to the Arctic Ocean. After this, Sweden and Finland never regained their connection to the Arctic coastline, and until today remain locked off from it by the countries of Norway and Russia. However, the northern region of Norway that was once
know this
undisputed
place.
land
It's in Oslo.
inhabited by the Samis is now a multicultural
Samis.
region. Borders may be fixed, but this area continues to be a melting pot of different people heavily influenced by its past. Various Sami peoples, as well as Finns and Finnish, Russians, and Norwegians, all live side by side with immigrants and visitors from all over the world. But what of the future? Do Sweden or Finland have any hopes of perhaps joining back to the Arctic coastline one day? Well, Finland certainly has some plans that could change the power dynamics of the region in a big way.
How?
Presently, Finnish cargo is mainly transported to and from the ports of the Baltic Sea. Before the war on Ukraine, Finnish trains ran to the east all the way to China.
What is up with this guy's pronunciation? I'm starting to think this is AI, to be honest with you guys.
Through Russia. Access to the Arctic Ocean is limited to the narrow roads through Norway, which are not qualified for the Trans-European Transport Network, which are the major transport corridors in Europe. To
So what's
create
their
new
plan?
avenues for transport, and in the hope of gaining access to the potential flow of goods along the Northern Sea Route, the Finnish and Norwegian governments announced plans in 2018 to move ahead with building a railway that would connect Finland with Norway and Russia and their deep water ports on the Arctic coastline. However, the declaration of war by Russia on Ukraine has greatly slowed down these plans, as Russia and China were meant to be major funders of this project, and now it remains to be seen whether these plans will ever be completed. And there you have it, folks, the reason for Finland and Sweden being completely cut off from the Arctic Ocean. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more great content just like this. Thanks for watching.
Okay, but here's the thing. They will it's a plan where they will have to go into Norway. So even though they are connected, they won't really be connected. It will still be through Norway or through Russia. So technically, I don't think they will ever be connected unless they decide to take back that territory, which is crazy if you think about it. But that's very interesting, isn't it? You know, I think back in the day, a lot of countries it was the formation of the world. They were trying to gain territory, they were trying to gain power, and we didn't have the settled countries that we have today. We didn't have the borders, we didn't have any of that yet. So kind of like free land was no man's land. And I feel like a lot of people really didn't care that much. So Norway made their move, and then Finland and Sweden was like, ah, yeah, just go and take it. It's unmarked territory, just take it. And I guess that's how Norway got all the coastline. But Norway has a lot of resources and a lot of luck also, because when they drew the line in the ocean, in the Arctic, right? When they drew the line, from what I understand, I think UK and Norway were trying to figure out where you split the line down the Atlantic Ocean, right? And then is that it? And then Norway got a part where they found the oil. If UK had gone a little bit more to the east, then they would have the Arctic Ocean, right? If they had gone a little bit to the east, then the UK would have had the oil reserve. right? I guess I think that's what we saw on the another video the other day. So Norway got a little bit lucky with that in terms of territory. And I guess this is kind of like the case as well. They made the first move, and everybody was like, okay, you got it, keep it. So yeah, that's interesting. But it's a good thing that Scandinavia or the Nordic countries are, united. So I don't think Finland or Sweden actually need access as long as they have the ally in Norway. I guess they can always make plans to like construct this railway and make it easier for them. But do you guys think that's a good plan? Do you think it will be good for Sweden or for Finland to connect to the Arctic Ocean? I guess it will improve exports, and obviously it is going to be a good deal. But is it good for Norway? Let me know your comments down below in the comment section. And guys, tack for kaffen. And I'll see you guys on the next one. If you want to watch full movie reaction shows or series, go over to Buy Me Coffee or to Patreon. The link is in the pinned comments, and click over here for more. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.